everyone and welcome back to my channel. I'm really glad that all of you tuned in this special video that I'm filming in my room, and these are the perfumes that I keep here, and I'm very excited for this change of the scene. So let me know how you like this background, and I'm very excited to finally review for you La Casa Azul perfume by probably my most favorite American indie house, DSH Perfumes, that I've dedicated lots of videos to. And in case you missed them, make sure to check out the description box where I will leave all the helpful information regarding my previous reviews on DSH Perfumes, as well as DSH Perfumes official website that I highly recommend you to check out. But with all of that being said, La Casa Azul was obviously inspired by the iconic Frida Kahlo, who also inspired my today's look, and I'm finally sitting here telling you what I think about this absolutely masterpiece in my personal opinion, because I'm head over heels in love with it. Even though I have a sample, I'm dreaming about a bigger bottle because it could easily be in my top 5 favorite DSH perfumes of all times. And you know, I have quite a few, but don't create so many perfumes that, you know, I wish to own all of them one day, and I have more in my studio where I normally film. But with all of that being said, today we are going to talk about La Casa Azul, and it was inspired by Frida Kahlo, and my first ever acquaintance with her was in Spanish lesson, where we read a story about her, and I was so intrigued by it, so I watched a movie about Frida and cried all the way as I was watching it. So she's a real legend and a source of inspiration for many artists. And so Dawn created a perfume based on her character. But before we dive into this review, I wanted to remind you to follow me on my social media such as Instagram and Facebook, as well as check me out on Patreon. And with that being said, I would like to firstly read you what Dawn says about her creation. So here we go. I find it thrilling that so many people had suggested Frida as an inspiration for my next addition to the Women Artists series. I have 3 designs planned for 2020, all based on Frida. She was so multifaceted. How could just one perfume encompass all that I'd love to tell you about her? Frida became a huge inspiration to me back when I was in art school and an assistant to the art librarian. I had the pleasure of making all the slides of her work for the library and cataloging them. It was instant love for me. Her curiosity, her intensity of feeling, and her immense vulnerability all spoke directly to my heart and mind. I'm over the moon to be able to speak about her through fragrance. I also want to mention that for this first perfume I'm taking some liberties, which is why these are called Frida stories. I'm hoping to tell stories, sometimes about her true life experience, sometimes from her legend, and further stories created around her. La Casa Azul is based on a scene from the Frida movie. It speaks to the revolutionary Mexican artists, their parties, and the tango scene between Frida and Tina Modotti. Tina Modotti was apparently instrumental in getting Frida and Diego Rivera together, and this fictional scene has Frida and Tina dancing sensuously, finalized by a kiss. La Casa Azul is sexy, unconventionally spicy, and challenging to the establishment. This eclectic fragrance is a story of Mexican artists, revolutionaries, and Frida's bisexuality. It's a party filled with cigarette smoke, cigars, tequila, jalapeno spice, French perfume, leather, salt, and sex. Lastly, with this series, we are donating 25% of sales to KIND, Kids in Need of Defense. We really want to help children caught in an insecure world brought there in ways beyond their control. we think that Frida would approve. And that's for I really love Dawn. She's a talented artist that is not afraid to experiment, and she is super duper kind. I have a pleasure to know her personally, and I'm obsessed with her work, and in my opinion La Casa Azul is one of the most interesting perfumes I've ever experienced. And you know, it's very atmospheric and abstract, not necessarily hard to define, but I don't want to categorize it, you know. I will tell you about my feelings when I smell it and what it reminds me of. So first of all, when you smell this perfume, you might actually smell something pretty fresh and almost citrusy, but you're not sure because, you know, everything in there is so controversial and contrasting, just like Frida is. So I would like to tell you which notes are there. So we have lots of animalic notes such as amber, ambergris, civet and musk, but at the same time there are citruses. There is bergamot, for example, as well as lime peel, and then there are some herbal notes like clary sage and Brazilian vetiver. There are flowers for the complexity. We have centifolia rose absolute and Egyptian rose, geranium and grandiflorum jasmine there, and some green notes, some woody notes, and what I like the most, boozy notes, because there is cognac, there is tequila accord that Dawn created, and jalapeno accord. Oh my god, only Dawn could come up with something artistic as jalapeno accord. And you know, yes, this perfume is spicy, but in fresh, not necessarily herbal, green way, being boozy and alcoholic, and at the same time there is the salty accord that in my opinion goes really well with tequila, so it's very appropriate. But you know, even though this perfume is sort of colorful, light and refreshing, at the same time it is pretty dark and deep. That's for that contrast that I was telling you about. So you know, this perfume is like Frida. It has so many different elements that are all very captivating when you look at Frida, when you look at her work. There is something extremely beautiful, extremely exquisite and elegant, but at the same time slightly ugly. That's my personal opinion about it. And this perfume is not ugly at all. Actually, it's refreshing, slightly leathery, a little bit smoky, and even gourmand, but not sweet. And I like that boozy element is not sweet either. You know, sometimes boozy notes are vanillic and warm, and this one is pretty sparkling and very natural smelling. So to me it smells like paint a lot. So just imagine entering a visual artist's studio and you can smell the paint, and at the same time you can smell fresh natural air that comes from the garden through the window, and you're walking through the studio enjoying all these drawings, drinking alcohol, not necessarily tequila, because I guess it's more like a shot alcohol, but I'm not very familiar with alcohol. So I decided to Google other Mexican alcohol, and I found this cocktail michelada, I might mispronounce it, and it is sort of like a beer-based cocktail, maybe with tequila, but also with lime juice, and we have lime there, salt, we have salt here, and hot sauces, peppers and spices. So all of that is in here. So just imagine how delicious, how cool, how absolutely phenomenal and artistic it is. So To me, Dawn as a visual artist felt Frida as a visual artist and translated her visual art into olfactory art that in my opinion is a masterpiece. I'm absolutely in love with it. I'm very inspired by this fragrance that I like to start my day with because it's surprisingly refreshing and motivating, and in my opinion it is very unisex. That's for those who love Frida Kahlo should definitely try La Casa Azul, and those who have never heard of Frida Kahlo should watch documentaries about her and get a sample of this beautiful fragrance. And I can't wait for the next two perfume editions for this Frida stories. And with all of that being said, make sure to let me know what you liked about this review. If you had fun watching it and you learned something new, make sure to give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you're new here, and I can't wait to chat with you. So with all of that being said, don't forget to follow me on my Patreon page, and make sure to stay tuned, smell good, keep your hands clean, and we'll see each other in the next one really soon. Bye guys.